Shun Senpai here, and today we are doing What If Deku Was Being Mentored by Saitama. And for this situation, once Deku speaks with All Might, instead of All Might personally training him, it's Saitama, since Saitama has more experience with hardcore training and could teach Deku how to become strong, but not as strong as Saitama, obviously, since it took him multiple years to get that strong, but at least pretty strong, maybe Bakugo level. Alright, and to start the story, Deku's still gonna be quirkless. Story's pretty regular. He gets bullied by Bakugo, all of that, and then so we skip to the part after the sludge attack, when All Might says that Deku doesn't really have much of a chance at being a hero. He tells Deku that he could help him because he also knows someone who's quirkless, and that is one of the strongest heroes. We're gonna make Saitama one of the top 10 strongest heroes. And to stop any conflict, we're just gonna say that Saitama always holds back, because if he was really going at 100% power, he could easily beat All Might. Deku accepts this challenge, and he doesn't know that One For All can get inherited by people that digest DNA, and so we're not gonna let Deku know about this until the end of the training course of Saitama. And so Deku wouldn't really know how to use One For All at all until he starts UA. Alright, so, and also to add to this, Saitama is basically gonna have his own hero agency, a bit like Sir Nightai, but instead of taking down heroes all the time, it's more of a training campus. And so Deku goes through this campus throughout his summer holidays, and then on his last day, All Might comes to meet him, and he basically just gives Deku One For All. He also said that he's been observing how Deku's been training, and that he's been putting extra effort in, and has been keeping a steady diet whilst training, so he wouldn't go overweight or anything. And so Deku still has his hair, because he hasn't trained to the point where he loses his hair, and he gets given One For All. At this point in the story, Deku's endurance is increased drastically, and so when he uses One For All, he actually won't get hurt. The most that would happen to him was maybe a fractured bone, but it wasn't too serious. And so Deku would frequently train One For All, and so we reach the point where he's at his exams, and instead of just destroying that one robot at the end, he ends up actually smashing through the majority of them and comes top 5 alongside Todoroki, Bakugo, and some others. After the exams finish, Deku is known as Mini All Might, or B-Tech Saitama, and Bakugo starts wondering how Deku got all this power. And one day, he comes and questions him, how come you just suddenly get a quirk and become stronger? It's not fair, and challenges Deku to a one-on-one. Deku accepts this, knowing that he'd probably win since he was already at Bakugo's level, without One For All, and so with One For All stacked on it, he would ensure the win. But he didn't want to hurt Bakugo, since he still cared for people and wanted to be a hero and not a villain and evil. Deku and Bakugo end up fighting, and for the majority of the fight, Deku ends up tanking most of Bakugo's hits, just like Saitama does in the anime, and ends up throwing some casual punches in and not doing anything too flashy. And then Bakugo starts getting furious and starts releasing more of his power, but Deku's easily able to match his power, and so it's a pretty equal fight throughout until Aizawa Sensei comes up and stops them both from fighting, since they were fighting on school property basically. and they don't get excluded since they haven't really started school yet. They just get a warning from him, and they say that and he says that he's gonna be extra strict on both of them to prevent them from fighting ever again. After that day, Deku was pretty relaxed, and he also carried on like Saitama's training exercises so that he could become stronger and like increase his endurance so that he can tank more hits and basically, and would always take like a 100-kilometer run every single day around the school so that he could increase his aerobic endurance. Deku was really dedicated to Saitama's workout and did a lot of research about Saitama and his previous hero acts, and had seen that one time he had stopped a meteor from hitting Japan, and he was really surprised by the amount of power Saitama had, since he was like going to be one of the successors for One for All. But then All Might decided to give it to Deku just in time. Another reason why Saitama ended up not being the successor of One for All was that he was a bit too arrogant and didn't really show emotion, and so he wouldn't like do a great job at using it since he's already strong enough without it. And All Might knew about Saitama's hidden secret abilities, and that he could like one-handedly destroy All Might. And so it was just kept a secret between like a couple of people until like the world was ready to know. Time skipped to a couple of days into Mr. Aizawa's class. And so Deku and Bakugo, they're having a lesson on like how people can improve their quirks. And they go outside into the field to test out people's like their strength, their agility, their speed, and all that. Basically, their attributes with like simple tasks. And so Aizawa analyzes each person's abilities, and he asks everyone to write down like a way they could potentially improve their quirks to see whether they're right or wrong, and then he'd give them like proper advice. And Deku's advice was to not be so blatant with his moves, because his moves were pretty obvious. Like you could tell when he would throw a punch, and to be like more tactical. Deku would then start to improve his abilities, since he still worked time to time at Saitama's campus, and would like spar with some of his trainees, and so he would develop his fighting skills, since he was really strong. It just he didn't know how to fight properly, and he would think like really tactically. In UA, since Deku was portrayed as such like a strong and powerful person, he used to get challenged on a daily to different tasks such as like arm wrestles and like races, and he would usually like have to be put on a handicap in order to make the challenges a bit fairer, and people would like really start to like Deku, and Deku would become more famous. If you lot want to see me cover another episode of What If Deku was trained by Saitama, and for me to show like the basics of like how he trained whilst he was under the thingy of Saitama, make sure to hit at least 10 likes, since I'm gonna start to upload more frequently. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video. This video was like usually longer than my usual videos, but I hope you guys like how I make my videos now. And if you do, make sure to like it, obviously, and please subscribe, because it would really help me out and I'd really appreciate it. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you soon.